Hello, Revit users. My name is Alfredo Medina. I work at HHCP Architects, an Orcat Winslow company in Orlando, Florida. I am a member of the Autodesk Expert Elite Group. In this video, I want to show you how to create a family that I call a frame for a view. This is a title block family that we use to organize views on a sheet. It's a frame for each of the viewport that contains options for the detail number, the view title, the graphic scale of the view, and also an option for a north symbol for floor plans. This helps to organize the views on a sheet to keep them aligned and visually uh, arranged in a way that is not only good to see, but also that optimizes the space of views on a sheet so that a view doesn't take more space than needed. For this family, you need the following items. First, a title block family for the frame itself, like this one. You also need a graphic scale symbol family, like this one. A north symbol family with rotation. A custom view title family in the project. And a set of global parameters in the project, like this one. We will do these items one by one. Let's begin with the first item, the title block family for the frame. In Revit, we begin by Families, New, English Imperial, Title Blocks, New Size, Open. This template comes with two dimensions. We will convert this one to be the width of the frame, create new parameter, and I will call this simply W. Instance, OK. This will be the height. So I convert this one into H, instance, and OK. Then I need a circle here for the detail number of the view. Create, line, circle, and I create first a circle of 1/4 radius. So let me type the radius here, 1/4, and I place the circle anywhere first, and then I locate that circle in relation to this corner, like this. Create, aligned, from here to the center of the circle is 1/4. So I select the circle and change this dimension to be 1/4. And then I do the same in the other direction. Create, aligned, from here to the center of the circle. Select the circle, make this dimension 1/4. And I want to lock these two dimensions, this one and this one. Okay. The other line that I need is a line that begins from the quadrant of this circle to here, to 1/4 off from the line on the right side. So to do that, I can create this dimension 1/4 and lock that dimension from the endpoint of this line to this edge. This is all the graphics that I need. Let's test if this title block will change dimensions while keeping the circle and the line in the same way. So I go to family types, and let's suppose that the width is 15 inches. Apply. Yes, that works. And let's say the height is 9 inches. Click OK. Yes, it works. Save this family like this. File, save, and I go to my Revit families, and let's call this a frame for a view. That's the name of the family. I have already a copy. Do you want to replace it? Yes, that's fine. Now let's go back to this board where we have all the elements that we need. And let's continue with item number 2, the graphic scale symbol. To load the graphic scale symbol family, I do this. File, open, family. I go to the folder and take my graphic scale symbol imperial family, which we demonstrated in a previous video. And I need to load this into the frame. Before that, let me do a quick refresh of things we did for this family. If you watched the previous video, you might remember that this family works with 3 length parameters and 1 scale factor parameter. Because this is already working, I don't need to care about these 3 values. All I need to associate in the frame family is the scale factor. So I'm going to copy the name of this parameter, scale factor, Control C, click OK, and load this into my frame family and place it somewhere here, and then do align to this line in the frame, align the intermediate line of the graphic scale, and to this point align this other edge of the graphic scale symbol and lock. We need to make a test before we proceed to see if this family is going to move along with the frame, if the frame is wider or narrower. So let's do that test. Family types, and what happens if the width is 8 inches? Click apply. Yes, the width is reduced and the graphic scale symbol stays where we put it. So this is correct. Now we need to associate the scale factor parameter of the graphic scale symbol to a new scale factor parameter in the frame family. To do that, we create a new parameter and we do Control V to paste the name scale factor. That parameter needs to be a number and needs to be an instance. Let's click OK. And we can put a default value such as 96, which is the scale factor for 1/8 of an inch equals 1 foot. Now, to create the association, we click the graphic scale symbol, we go to the scale factor of that family and associate that parameter with the new scale factor parameter in the frame family. Let's click OK. And we can test the values if you want. We can go to family types and say, okay, if the scale factor is 1, apply, you see that these numbers change. So I'm going back to the default value of 96, apply, and OK. So now we have the graphic scale symbol. Now let's go back to this board and take care of item number 3, the north symbol with rotation. To load the north symbol family, I do File, Open. In my folder, I have this family already, north symbol for frame, and I load into Project and Close. Notice that this has a parameter that I need to associate with an equivalent parameter in the frame family. So I use Load into Project and Close. And first I place the north symbol anywhere, and then I do this, align to this line, align the horizontal line in the north symbol. I don't need to lock that alignment. Then I go and create a dimension to lock the distance from this edge on the right to the vertical line in the north symbol family. And then I select the north symbol and enter the desired distance, which is 2 inches and 3/4. And that's just fine, and I need to lock this dimension. Now let's create an association between the rotation parameter in the north symbol with an equivalent parameter in the frame family. Then I select the north symbol family, go to this button to create an association between deviation from north, which is an angle parameter, and I create a new parameter with the same name, from north. Is an instance and is an angle, and let's click OK. Let's test that this north symbol rotates with the parameter. I go to family types and I enter 15 degrees for the deviation from north, click apply, and as you see, the north symbol rotates. So that is working. The next step in the process is to create visibility parameters for all of these things. To begin, let's work on the graphic scale symbol. I select the graphic scale symbol, go to Visible, click on this little button, create a new parameter, and I always begin these parameters with the word show. So in this case, it's show graphic scale symbol, and I always put these parameters under visibility and instance. I am going to copy the word show for the other parameters. Okay, let's do the same for the north symbol. Visible, associate with show north symbol. Visibility and instance. Click OK, click OK. Let's do the same for this line. Visible, associate, and let's say intermediate horizontal line under visibility and instance. And we do the same for the circle. Associate, parameter, show circle, instance, visibility, and I also do the same for all these 4 lines in case we don't need to see the lines or we don't want to see the lines. So I select all of them and associate their visibility with show frame lines, instance, and visibility. Click OK, click OK. How do we test these things? We activate the preview visibility like this, and then we go to family types and start turning off these things and using the apply button. Yes, it works. This frames, it works. Show graphic symbol, show the intermediate horizontal, and show north symbol until everything disappears. So all of these visibility parameters are working. Let's click OK, and we can turn off the preview visibility. So I think this is all we need for item number 1, the frame family with the other components nested into the family. Going back to this board, we can put a check mark on this one, this one, this one, and now we take care of item number 4, a custom view title family. To do that, we need to open a project. So let's do that. File, open, project. Here I have an example. And what I need to customize is the view title family. To do that, I go to families, annotation symbols, find the default view title family, which is this one, and do right click, edit, and create my own family here. Like this, file, save as family, view title for frame, that would be the name. I have a copy already, so I say yes, replace the existing file. The changes I'd like to do are this. I don't want this circle because the frame for a view contains a circle. I want this detail number to be bigger. This one is 1/8 of an inch, so I want to duplicate this to be 1/4. So this one is going to be 1/4. quarter is going to use bold style, and the width factor is going to be 0.8, like this. This other text or label, I want this to be bold, and I want this to be 0.8, like this. Then let's load this into the project, into Arc Link model. And now I need to create a viewport type that uses my new view title. But to use my viewport type, I want to use it with the frame. So let's go back to the frame family and do load into project and close. Yes. And now this is the family. So let's make a little test with this view. For example, this view is using 1 inch equals 1 foot. So suppose I want to use this frame. I want to put it here and here. Notice that at the moment the size of our frame is flexible. Later on we will put global parameters into this. At the moment I can just align the edges of the frame with something in the title block. So let's suppose that this detail is going to be here, and instead of using the default viewport type, which is called viewport 1, I want to create my own with viewport type like this. Duplicate, and I call this viewport with frame, and I say show extension line no. For title, use the custom view title for frame family, and I can leave the other parameters as they are. Let's click OK to this, and now I simply move the view title to the frame. Notice that I need to move these two labels a little bit to the right. So to do that, I can go back to my view title for frame and move these two labels. I'm going to move them to the right, maybe 1/8 of an inch, like this, and then load into project again, overwrite, yes. Okay, so this creates the view title that we need, which was item 4 in our list. Going back to this board, now we can put a check mark on this item. If you want, you can add more parameters to the view title. One example is a view reference to indicate where the detail was taken from. Okay, our last item on the list is a set of global parameters like this. Let's do that. The global parameters need to be one that gives me the available width of the title block, which means from this line to this line, and another one for the available height from this line to this line. And then we will do divisions or fractions of those two dimensions. So we go to Manage, Global Parameters, and we create the first global parameter like this. New title block separator age. This would be the available height, title block height. I'm going to copy this to create multiple similar parameters. Let's create title block divided by 2. This is just a name. It doesn't have any formula yet. And let's create title block height divided by 3. And I am going to copy this. And I need also title block divided by 4. And I need something such as 2/3. So to do that, I use something like title block multiplied by 2/3. And I want to copy this and then create a similar for 3/4. So these are the basic proportions or sizes that I'm going to use in this video, but of course you can create more, as many as you want. So this is my basic set for the title block height. I need to do the same parameters for the width, like this. Title block width, then title block width divided by 2, right? I'm going to copy that. Title block width divided by 3. Title block width divided by 4. And then I do the 2/3 and the 3/4. So this one would be following the same format. This one would be title block width multiplied by 2 divided by 3. This would be my 2/3. And finally, 3/4 of the width, right? 3/4. Okay. Now let's do the formulas. The formulas will be basically this, almost the same format that I used for the name. So title block height divided by 2 is the name of the same parameter divided by 2, but without the underscores, right? So this one divided by 3 would be like this. This one would be like this. This one would be multiplied by 2 divided by 3, and I will copy that to do this one. Title block height multiplied by 3/4. Okay, and then I need to do the others. This one would be the same, similar to this formula, but related to the width, like this. Title block width divided by 2. This one is title block width divided by 3. This one is title block divided by 4. This one is basically all of this, but without the underscores. and like this, 2 divided by 3, like this, and the last parameter is, oh, here I made a mistake. Oh, okay, I need to remove this. Okay, and this one is title block width multiplied by 3/4. Okay, now all I need to do is get this dimension for the available width of the title block and this other dimension for the height, and enter those dimensions here to get all the values. So let's get the height. The height, available height of this title block is 2 feet 5 inches. So let's go to manage global parameters and enter 2 feet 5 inches for title block height, and then I get all the other values, whatever that is. Now I need the width, the available width. So for the available width, I measure from here to here, and I see that this is 3 feet. Then I go to manage global parameters and enter 3 feet for the available width. Click anywhere and I get all the other values. Okay, now I can use my global parameters on the frames. For example, suppose that we want this frame to be 1/4 of the width and 1/3 of the height. So we select the frame and go here to the properties and find H. H is going to be 1/4 of the height, no, 1/3 of the height, and the width is going to be 1/4 of the width. So this is now the frame is controlled by the global parameters. You can see that the arrows were replaced by dots. And as you can see, the detail needs just that area, no more than that, right? Before it was like the detail was using more space on the sheet. And now we can refine these things. I can select the view title and move it here, and maybe put the view name in uppercase, detail at grade, like this. And then because this is a detail, we don't need this north symbol. So I go to the options and turn off the north symbol. And for the scale, we go to the properties of the view and we see that the scale factor is 12. So we select the frame and change the scale factor to be 12, right? And now that I have one frame, it's very easy to copy the frame on this sheet or copy it from one sheet to another. Like I can select these 3 frames and do copy from this sheet and paste on another sheet, etc. For wall sections usually use 1/3 of the page, of the width of the page, and the full height, right? So typically you won't mix details with wall sections and elevations in an actual project. More likely you will have a page dedicated to maybe 3 wall sections another page dedicated to maybe 12 details of different dimensions, and maybe another sheet just dedicated to the elevations. So with these frames, you could make arrangements to organize your views. For example, suppose that this viewport needs to be the full height, but the full height for 1/4 of the width. So if I select this frame and go here to the properties, and for the height, I select the full height, right? Immediately I have the page divided in that way. And if this viewport were going to be a wall section, most likely the width would be 1/3 of the page. Notice that this is usually a good size for a wall section. And if you have 3 wall sections on the page, you can copy the frames easily to arrange the viewports on the sheet. Okay, going back to our board of steps, this completes the last step in the process, which is your set of global parameters. Thank you very much for watching this video.